done before we even hit Detroit. You know, before we even hit the first show of Purple Rain tour.
Yeah.
He was already bored with Purple Rain.
Welcome to Trimming the Musical Fat and the latest episode of our Prince Side series, which focuses on his singles from 1978 to 1989. I'm Stephen Nicholson, and today we're going to be talking about the singles from Prince's 7th album, Around the World in a Day. I know, I promised you Purple Rain next, but the 3-disc vinyl remastered 40th anniversary box set of Around the World in a Day landed on my doorstep, and I want to talk about it. And equally exciting, the Dolby Atmos mix of the album is available on Apple Music, and I will talk about both of them later on.
I think if it was given the proper timing, it would have probably been received not better. I think, you know, people still look at it, but it just got kind of didn't come out of the gate right.
Kind of lost.
There was a consistent fight with his label about him oversaturating the market constantly.
Yeah.
It's too much, Prince. It's too much.
James Brown put out a record a month, you know, so it was like
It's
always.
like it didn't matter to him.
Yeah. The thing about Prince that since I started so early with him is the hairstyle would change the whole thing, and he was already moving into the hairstyle for Raspberry Beret.
He hated his hair on Around the World in a Day.
So the whole thing was that album was done, and you know he wanted to play more and more of that songs live, and people, you know, and that translated to the marketing campaign, which was they'll find it, you know, it's just going to appear. I'm not going to do any videos or any singles, and he really thought that, you know, that people would be done with Purple Rain, but as we know now, they're not done with Purple Rain.
So Around the World in a Day is the 7th studio album by Prince and his second official release with his backing band The Revolution. It was released in April 1985, 1 year after his previous album Purple Rain, and departed from the commercial sound of that release with psychedelic styles and more opulent textures. It was recorded in various studios across the US between February and December 1984, and all tracks were produced, arranged, composed and performed by Prince and The Revolution. And Prince was 26 years of age when this album was released. So to summarise a couple of things, it was released in 1985, there are 9 songs on it, its duration is 42 minutes, it got to number 5 on the UK album charts, and it was a number 1 hit over in the US. Sales-wise, it sold 5 million copies, which is a whopping 18 million less than the previous album, Purple Rain. The album has a 3.68 out of 5 rating from just over 7,000 ratings on Rate Your Music, and as a comparison, Purple Rain is rated 4.14 out of 5. Now, the artwork for the album, it's a psychedelic painting filled with vibrant colours and surreal imagery, reflecting the album's experimental and whimsical tone. The cover was painted by Doug Henders, who was an artist and a friend of Prince. Now, unusually, Prince chose not to tour to promote this album, which was perhaps unsurprising as he had just finished the Purple Rain tour mere weeks before this album was released. And that tour, the Purple Rain tour, encompassed 98 North American shows over a 5-month period. So I'm guessing the guy just wanted a break. There were 4 singles from the album, and they are Raspberry Beret, Paisley Park, Pop Life, and America. So let's delve into each of these right now. First up, Raspberry Beret.
She wore a raspberry beret, the kind you find in a second-hand store.
So that was the first single from the album, and it was released 1 month after the album on the 15th of May 1985. Its B-side in the US was She's Always in My Hair, and in the UK it was a track called Hello. Both are non-album tracks, and both are very, very good. So the single cover, it was a psychedelic painting of a woman with a raspberry beret holding a red apple. The music video, so it combines footage of Prince and the Revolution performing the song, surrounded by dancers, and overlaid with various animations. Now, the song was a big hit. It got to number 2 in the US, and it was kept off the top spot by Duran Duran's James Bond theme, A View to a Kill, and in the UK it only got to number 25. And here's a couple of facts related to it. Guitarist Pat Smear of Germs and Foo Fighters fame appears as one of the background dancers in the song's video, despite not being able to dance. Apparently Prince just liked his look, so he got to stay on the shoot. Another story from the video, Prince's hairstylist Ed Jones stated that Prince damaged his hair so badly prior to the Raspberry Beret video that the hairstyle in it was literally all he could do with it. And Prince first recorded the song solo back in 1982, but it remained unreleased. So this is obviously the most famous song from the album, and it's my favourite from it. I think it's one of Prince's greatest songs. Absolute positive pop perfection. I'm flabbergasted it only got to number 25 here in the UK charts, and it is now one of his most played songs on UK radio. It's one of his great storytelling pop songs, similar to Manic Monday, which he gave to the Bangles to have a number one US hit in 1986. There's great use of violins on it, and the last time I seen Prince play live, he did play this as the third song in the set, sandwiched between Take Me With You and You Got the Look, and it just does not get any better than that. And I'm going to rate each of these singles, and Raspberry Beret, not unsurprisingly, is regarded as top tier Prince for me. So that's my thoughts on Raspberry Beret. Let's hear someone else's. So let's hear from Eric, who is co-host of the Face the Music and Electric Light Orchestra Song by Song podcast. Take it away, Eric.
When Raspberry Beret came out, I thought, it was a really good idea that they released Take Me With You as the last single from Purple Rain. Because, in a way, Raspberry Beret sort of has the same kind of sound as Take Me With You. So it was sort of like, here's the last single from Purple Rain. This is just a hint of what's coming on the first single from his next album. I'm not saying that Raspberry Beret sounds like Take Me With You. There are certain things about it that sort of have the same kind of sound. And it's mostly, a lot of it is in the strings. It sort of has the same string sound. But instead of having like a little bit of strings here, a little bit of strings here, it sort of carries through the whole song, the strings do. And I'm just agog at Prince's genius. I mean, I'm not a super fan or anything, like I have the entire discography and I just live and dream and think nothing about Prince, but every time I hear something from him, I'm like, damn, that guy was a friggin' genius. With the Raspberry Beret, he takes funk, 80s pop, and 60s psychedelia, and whooshes it all into an extremely catchy and great song. At the time when this came out in 85, everybody was saying, oh, it's psychedelic. Prince is digging into the psychedelic stuff from the 60s. And I was like, okay, I guess so. You guys were alive back then. I wasn't. I was 16 when Raspberry Beret came out. But yeah, I can hear the psychedelic parts of this song. It's a lot of it in the strings. It reminds me a lot of the Lemon Pipers' Green Tambourine and, what was it, the Small Faces? Or the Faces? It's one of those Faces bands from the 60s. Itchy-Coo Park. It borrows a lot from that 60s bubblegum psychedelic pop that was around back then, which, honestly, I always liked. I wish there had been more of it made. So, again, a great bit of genius, and I think much better than the last two Prince songs that came out as singles, Take Me With You and I Would Die For You. I think there's a whole lot more going on here. It sounds like a much fuller song. And also, I made Weird Al Yankovic laugh with this song. Well, third hand. Weird Al was out promoting the Dare to Be Stupid album, and he was on a local talk show in Phoenix, and my friend went to that show. At some point, the host of the show went into the audience for questions, and my friend told Weird Al, hey, well, what do you do if you've got a parody idea for a song and you want to get that out there? And he said, my friend wrote a parody of Raspberry Beret about his favorite ice cream called Strawberry Parfait, and that made Weird Al laugh. So even though Prince would have cut my head off and put it on a spike as a warning to others, do not parody my music, well, my Prince parody made Weird Al laugh. So I'll take that joy with me for the rest of my life.
So next up, we've got Paisley Park, which was the first single from Around the World in a Day in some international markets, including the UK and Australia.
Paisley Park is in your
And it was released on the 24th of May 1985, so about a month after the album. And the B-side to this was She's Always in My Hair, a non-album track. The single cover for this was a psychedelic painting featuring the band's name and song title. And the video is a psychedelic video featuring kids playing in a park. And it got to number 18 here in the UK charts. And a couple of facts: the song inspired the name of Prince's famous recording complex, Paisley Park Studios, which is now a museum to Prince, and it was recorded 3 months after the Purple Rain album was released. So I must have heard this on the radio back in 1985, and as a kid playing in my back garden, I remember this being played by a neighbour throughout the summer a lot. And as a big Beatles fan, I'm naturally disposed to liking it. So for me, the great guitar on it, it's got a very similar sound to the Beatles' song Revolution. The track is almost childlike with a utopian psychedelic vibe, and it's got a catchy melody and layered instrumentation. I absolutely love it. And for me, it is top tier Prince. The next single was Pop Life, which was the second US single and the final UK one from Around the World in a Day. It was released on the 15th of July 1985, which was 2 days after Live Aid. B-side in the US was Hello, and in the UK it was Girl, both non-album tracks, which are very good. The single cover is basically an extract from the album cover, highlighting the woman from That with White Hair crying. There was no music video for the song, and chart-wise it was a top 10 hit in the US, getting to number 7. And in the UK, it didn't even get into the top 40. It only reached number 60 here. And the track was actually recorded before the Purple Rain album was completed. And the UK extended version of this track clocks in at over 9 minutes. And the US B-side Hello, which I've already mentioned, was actually written quickly by Prince as a response to those that criticised him for not participating in the charity single We Are the World, which was for USA for Africa. So the song, it wasn't a single here. So I had never heard this tune until I bought the album. And it's perhaps a bit of a bridge between the sound of Purple Rain and Around the World in a Day. Only funkier and less psychedelic than most of the tracks on the album. And the lyrics are notable for their prescient commentary on fame and consumerism. The best lyric is, "What you putting in your nose? Is that where all your money goes?" And I remember a commentator at the time saying that he found it amusing that people thought Prince was crazy for putting his money into building Paisley Park Studios instead of buying drugs like a lot of other music stars. Anyway, Pop Life. Another track the great man played live the last time I've seen him. And I do like the track, but for me, it's not top tier Prince. I'd put it in the mid tier. So the final single from the album, America. It was released on October the 2nd, 1985. B-side was Girl, which includes the immortal line, "All I have to do is think about you and I can have an orgasm." Wow, that is powerful stuff. The single cover for this is another extract from the Around the World in a Day album cover, highlighting the child holding the stars and stripes. The music video for this is a 10-minute live performance from Nice, France. Sales-wise, it got to number 35 in the US. And do you know, the 12-inch version of this track is over 21 minutes long. And if memory serves, I'm sure the band kind of finished up that 21-minute version just in time. So I think the tape that was recording it just ran out after they finished. And it's definitely worth checking out. And it does feature on the re-released, I'm going to call it the luxury edition, but expanded edition, whatever you want to call it, version of Around the World in a Day. And to promote the track, Prince appeared on MTV to give his first televised interview since 1980, which I think was the American Bandstand interview and performance. So I first heard this when I flicked over my vinyl copy of Around the World in a Day to side B and put the needle down. And I did get to see Prince perform it live with the New Power Generation in 1993. I have to say, I do find this a bit of a strange choice as a single, because I don't think it's that commercial. If it was me, I think I would have released the album's title track instead, which is much more tuneful and memorable. Which is not to say America is a bad song. Indeed, it's a very good song, and it's a good way to start the second side of the album with a blast of energy and political commentary. I like the distorted guitar, the hypnotic rhythm section, the tinkling keyboard between the chorus and verses, and the repeating groove as the song fades out. So I would rate this mid-tier Prince.
He pushed back very hard on the traditional first single, second single, third single video. He really pushed hard to not play. He just wanted to put it out. He didn't want there to be any single from it. He just wanted to put it out and let,
Let it speak for itself.
radio people find their own song to play. And I think he was talked into doing the video for Raspberry Beret. He said to me in that video, he said, "I hate my hair. I look like Lou Ferrigno." I was like, "The Hulk?" I said, "Yeah, I've got the Hulk's hair."
So let's talk about the album these singles came from, Around the World in a Day. So what was the critical reaction on its release in '85? Well, despite the muted promotion and its less commercial sound, the album still had 2 American top 10 hits, and it did go double platinum there. Initial critical reception was mixed, but retrospective reviews are far more positive. So Greg Tate of Spin wrote, "Perhaps it's inevitable given a career built as much on calculated as mind-blowing music, that Prince would choose to follow the best album of his career with the most bewildering, if not the worst. Ouch, that is harsh." In a positive retrospective review for Pitchfork, Alan Light described the album as a brave and deeply personal project exploring sounds and ideas that were almost shocking, coming from a pop icon at his peak. In a retrospective piece by Simon Price of The Guardian, published just after Prince's passing, he rated each of Prince's 37 albums and ranked them from best to worst. Around the World in a Day came in at 6, and he awarded it 5 stars out of 5. To quote, "The album that threw the Purple Rain kids off balance with its opulent, psych, pop textures, but which also sounds better than you think it will when you revisit." So I must have bought this in early 1990 on vinyl from a second-hand record store here in Edinburgh, Vinyl Villains. And I think it was the second ever Prince album I bought, Batman being the first. Since then, I've obviously got it on CD, digitally, and now the 40th anniversary vinyl box set, expanded edition, whatever you want to call it. And also I've got the Apple Dolby Atmos version too. What do I think of it? Well, it's my favourite Prince album. I love that he was brave enough and bold enough after Purple Rain to challenge his audience with something different. He's experimenting with new sounds here, psychedelic pop, funk, and Middle Eastern influences. It almost feels like a concept piece with whimsical and surreal elements that evoke the late 1960s psychedelic era. The themes and lyrics are also more mature here, exploring spirituality, love, and social commentary. There's a sense of escapism and introspection compared to the more direct anthemic tone of Purple Rain. And look, I mean, on a song-by-song basis, Purple Rain is a better album. I'm not disputing that. On spirit and having a certain je ne sais quoi, Around the World in a Day is the superior release. Now, the album cover, I'm a big fan of this. I think it's a colourful, playful gatefold sleeve with lots to look at and decipher, and it beautifully ties in with the music. My 3 favourite tracks from it, I would say Raspberry Beret is my favourite, Paisley Park in second place, and we've discussed those 2 songs already. Third place, the third favourite, if you like. So that's more of a challenge. I mean, The title track would be up there. Condition of the Heart's one of Prince's best ballads. But yeah, this is tough. I'd probably go with The Ladder, the penultimate song in the album. And it is this album's Purple Rain. I mean, sure, it's not as good, but it's still an excellent, excellent tune.
Everybody's looking for the ladder. Everybody wants salvation.
And my least favourite track, I would probably... There's nothing on here I don't like, so I'll be very clear about it. But if I had to pick something, I'd maybe go Tambourine. Nothing wrong with this at all. I like it. It's perhaps maybe a bit more slight and lightweight compared to other songs on the album. Now, I'm recording this late November 2025, so the 40th anniversary release of the album has just come out. And yeah, we are obviously marching towards Christmas 2025. First thought with this re-release is bah humbug. In comparison to the deluxe re-releases of the likes of Purple Rain, 1999, Diamonds and Pearls, and Sign of the Times, this is very light. Those releases had a wealth of unreleased material, live tracks, B-sides, and different versions of the tracks. Here, we're given the B-sides and different versions of the songs that were released back in 1985. There's no live tracks, which can be explained away by the fact Prince did not tour this album. However, it would have been nice if they had included live versions of these tracks from other tours. And where's the unreleased material and demos? They are posted missing. On the plus side, it's nice to get both versions of For the Tears in Your Eyes, the track Prince did for the USA for Africa album. And it's a really, really good song. Another positive, the album has been remastered. At last, I've been waiting on a remaster for decades. And what a good job Bernie Grundman has done. As Uncut's review said, the original tracks sparkle harder while retaining the album's contrarian spirit. And the Dolby Atmos mix creates a fresh, more immersive experience. So sound quality-wise, I am not grumbling at all. It's great to get these songs sounding better than they've ever done. It's just a shame we never got more in the way of unreleased material with this release. So if I'm ranking the original studio album from 85, where would I rank it? Top, middle, or lower tier Prince? I'm obviously going to rank it top tier. Absolutely fantastic record. So that's Around the World in a Day. I do keep promising you Purple Rain, so that will be the next release. And I'm still working away on doing the Sign of the Times trimming release. So yeah, For Rain or Sign of the Times is going to be the next Prince release from me, so keep an eye out for that. I'd love to hear what you think of Around the World in a Day. Is it as good as I'm making it out to be? Do you enjoy it? What's your favourite track, your least favourite tracks? I'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch, and you'll find the contact details in the episode description. So thanks for listening today. Do come back for the next episode, and until then, keep trimming.
Trimming the Musical Fat podcast is a Stephen and Paul Nicholson production. We'd love to hear from you. You'll find our contact details in the episode description. Want more TTMF? Head to our socials, join our Facebook group, follow us on TikTok, subscribe to us on YouTube, and check out our website at trimmingthemusicalfat.com.